For every kid who was ever picked last, I'm taking the words from your epitaph and taping them to your chest, so that every mirror you pass will reflect back how much there is left to live for. You are so much more than that 6-word story they've tried to write you off with. This is for every kid who has ever tried to play cello, with the bow of a razor along his wrists, donating his blood to the song that is dying to live. We are all of us artists, afraid of our own creations, afraid of the Dr. Frankensteins within us. We forget that the monster in the story was a myth, while Mary Shelley's horror is still read 294 years later. And yes, I realize I'll have to change that line every year I read this, but holy shit. Have you ever stopped to think about how long art lives? We contain immortality in our fingertips, yet we continue to defile our hands, turning fear into fists, taking the same lips we used to kiss and poisoning them with words that hang in the air like a noose, hungry for another neck. Suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in America. I pray my skin never grows too thick to feel the weight of this. I pray for arms that hold people rather than bullets. I don't want to change the world. I want to shake it, to wake it up, myself included. I want to be authentic, to learn to shed the fear of being naked. I'm so tired of feeling I need to hide who I am, but every time I lie by omission, I perpetuate the oppression. I'm just as guilty as the hands that hold me down. My own hands too afraid to let go of the lies they've grown up with. Did you know that child abuse victims feel safer in hostile environments simply because it's what they grew up in? Safety is relative and impossible to explain to someone who's never truly felt it. For any of us who have ever been let down by our parents, my father abused Bible stories to remind me of how lucky I was to be spared by the rod, the belt, his fist, because in the Old Testament, kids like me would be stoned to death. In high school, he told me I was demon-possessed. He told me my disobedience would give me cancer, and I laughed at the stretch. But now, all these years later, I'm learning that fear causes stress, causes that's a reflex that if not kept in check, the mutation of the cells that line my esophagus. He wasn't too far off. But I'm not there yet. And he does not get to write my story for me. Because I finally found home in small-town Colorado. I found family in a little local cafe, and found freedom on a stage that still scares the shit out of me. But there is nothing hostile about this environment. And it's okay if we don't feel safe just quite yet. We're constantly changing. We will learn to readjust. They do not get to write our stories for us. We contain immortality in our fingertips. My fists are nothing more than fingers laced into the empty spaces between yours. I will keep my lips safe enough to kiss. I will let my art live. I will let myself live.